Hello there YouTube, and welcome back to another VOD review. Today we have a gold 4 Ana Moira that would like a VOD review. There are notes for this game where I think I did alright once I swapped off Ana, but the Pharah and the Mei were being very troublesome by the second round. I tried to focus on healing whenever I could, and I picked the insta 30% healing perk and the reversible orb perk in both rounds for Moira. That way we can give them better positioning on Ana, maybe some more aggressive positioning on Moira. So let's see how their game goes. I like that you start off doing damage here, but as soon as you see your tank push back here, I would say be very careful of this sightline, because if the enemy DPS were on top of this car, not saying that a lot of them will be confident enough to actually stand here, but you have direct line of sight of the enemy DPS, especially someone like Ash. She's scoped in. I don't think she can see you right now because the cart is kind of blocking her view, but maybe someone like Kiriko could definitely do some damage. And you never want to get this combo Kiriko Ash because you're in direct line of sight. I would say be very careful. What I would have recommended for you on Ana is, I like the aggressive high ground. Nothing wrong with that. I am one for aggressive Ana plays, but instead of pushing in front of them here where they can all see you, I would have said back up and maybe rotate into this room and then maybe played from here. I know your Sig is being very passive, but you might want to do a little jiggle peek here and there, and maybe from here throw an anti-nade, and then your Sigma, your Cassidy both push up. You gain a little bit of ground for your team. And if anything, if push comes to shove, you can always drop here and still support your team. This is the more safe alternative for Ana, and it'll be really good. Let's say that the enemy team, instead of Venture, they go Pharah and they decide to fly over this roof. This is what they would see in that instance. They would have direct line of sight of you. But if you're playing from this corner here, this would be a lot safer. They can't see you, you can't really see them. And then if anything, you can always rotate into this room and kind of do the same thing. Jiggle peek, throw an anti-nade if you can. Ooh, unlucky. Yeah, I think you just got ambushed by the Venture. Another good tip for Ana is whenever you are going up against a Venture, they're gonna want to be super aggressive, cause a lot of chaos and disruption into your backline. So I would highly suggest not scoping in too much, or if you do want to scope in, quick scope. And have that sort of balance. That way you can not be caught out by not seeing what's around you. Wait for your team. There's not really much you could do. They have a lot better sight lines to get you out of the game in comparison to you actually doing a lot of damage. You guys have no shield in comparison. They have a shield. They can be a little bit more aggressive because they have that shield to back them up. Okay, so far good positioning. I like that you're healing your team. I see the Venture getting super aggressive. I'm glad that your Cassidy deleted them, but I would say be super careful when you're so close to the fight as they're pushing in. Here, you get a little bit pressured because you see the Venture kind of digging out of the ground and you kind of throw your nade. Whenever you're going up against Venture, because they're going to want to do so much damage super quickly, always keep your nade selfishly. If it's not going to sustaining your tank's life, keep it for yourself, because you never know. Mercy could be off pocketing one of the DPS, or maybe securing a hook from your hog. Always keep that nade for yourself whenever you're going up against dive, like Tracer, Sombra, Genji, Venture, things like that are going to want to dive in, get a kill, get out super quickly. You might not have that other backup of having your other support paying close attention to you, so you always want to have that lifeline of, even though my support is here, I want to have that extra lifeline of I can help myself. And then here, I think for this fight as well, it probably would have helped your hog feel a little bit safer with your nade. But I see you swap to Moira for this point. I think this point could work really well for her because it's a lot more enclosed. You can use your orbs to kind of bounce around and be annoying to the enemy team. I like it. So far, so good. Oh, be careful of that Bob. Yeah, for Moira, one thing I would recommend is keeping an eye on when Sigma uses his little grasp, because he actually can eat your orbs to do either healing or damage for the enemy team. So always watch out for that. Whenever you see Sigma use it, that's when you want to send a damage orb and be a little bit more aggressive, or maybe more defensive by sending a healing orb for your team. Oh, unlucky. Oh, back up, back up. Nice getaway. Good. I like the fact that instead of you wanting to be aggressive, you realize, okay, my team is gonna need a lot of help, so I'm gonna back up, stay safe. And you send out a healing orb, which not only helps you, but it'll help your team as they're backing up, getting pushed by the enemy team here. And very nice pick on the Venture as well. I don't think the rest of your team is really paying attention because your Mercies and Valkyrie, she's panicked about the Cassidy and the Hog taking a lot of damage here. So good job clearing out the back lane for your team. You kind of idle here. You kind of panic. I'm wondering if you were thinking like, oh, should I use my ult? Then you saw your health and immediately went, wait, hold on. I might be too low to be able to successfully get my ult off in time before getting deleted. But I would say because your orb kind of went out, did its thing, and now it's gone, I would say as soon as you're out of that fight with Venture, immediately fade to safety, and you could have gone maybe to this corner here and waited for orb to come back and then just orbed this wall and let it bounce back this way instead of sitting main, because right now the Ashe and Kiriko, if they were looking at you instead of being distracted by whatever is going on in this room, they have direct line of sight of you. Here, as we can see, the Ashe can clearly see you from this point of view. Okay, you have Coalescence. I wonder what you choose to do here.
Surrender to my will.
Nice Elam. Oh, unfortunate. Your Coalescence ran out. But yeah, nice job backing up. You definitely don't want to take any sort of fight with the Ashe on the enemy team, since she does have the high ground in this instance, as well as a lot of range in comparison to your range on Moira. Okay, good assist on the tank there. But yeah, your team is getting a little bit low, so definitely you want to tap heal instead of just holding it down unless they're taking a crazy amount of damage. You want to tap healing on Moira and just do like a light little tap here and there, and it'll heal them over time. That way your resources don't go down so quickly and you can sustain a little bit more in the middle of a fight. Because in comparison to, let's say, Mercy, Moira has limited healing. It's kind of like a Lari in a way. You know how that bar is there and it's kind of gauging how much healing you have, and once those resources are depleted, that's pretty much it. You'll have to go back and do DPS. So you can kind of get away with it by doing light tapping on your heals and just let the heals heal up over time for your team, because all of the healing pressure isn't just on you, it's on you and your other support.
Surrender to my will.
Nice push. Here, right before you coalescence, you always want to send out a damage orb with Moira, because that'll help you do more damage over time and secure kills a lot faster with coalescence in comparison to just doing coalescence no damage orb. I don't think your Cassidy and Mercy make it, unfortunately. Yeah, here, just do damage. I don't think they're even looking at your tank right now. You should be fine. Yeah, that's just a lot of damage from their team. Here, because you have a Mercy on your team, I wouldn't worry too much about the Pharah. I feel like at that point it's not up to you to be able to heal her. It's more on the Mercy because she can reach her safely. I see you kind of losing your mind and healing here. I would say for Moira, one thing you can do, especially on this point, because their tank isn't in the middle of your team, what you can do is kind of stand here and send a healing orb to bounce in between these two walls, the left and the right here. You can kind of send them here and just let them bounce back and forth and heal your team, because the enemy team doesn't really have anyone like D.Va, so they can't really go up and just grab your orb and take it out of commission to not heal your team. So you can kind of use this as a little guide to bounce your orbs. Or if you're healing from this room, like if you're standing on high ground, you can kind of do the same thing. Just shoot the orb at the ground and let the orb bounce in between the ceiling and the ground. For all the people that are standing here taking natural cover, the orb will bounce in this little tiny spot and it will still heal them up. How lucky. And see where your team decides to go. So you have a Pharah. She's probably going to want to fly over the ceiling on this point to be super aggressive, and she can get away with it because your team does have a Mercy. They could probably go be annoying as Farmer C in the enemy backline. Ooh, unfortunate. Oh, be careful. Let me go back a little bit. Be careful here with this fade. I think you panic a little bit and you're kind of standing in the middle of the lane like before, how you remember how you were on high ground and kind of backing away in the middle of the road here. Same thing applies for Moira. The Ashe, Mei, Sigma, they can all apply some sort of damage to you. And I think here you go and use your fade, but you're still in some way, shape, or form in the middle of the road. So if you're going to use fade, what you can do is kind of use the bounce perk or the double height perk and kind of stand here and help your team, because here you're kind of at an angle, but you can't really see the enemy team, so they won't be able to do any sort of damage to you. And you want to have that ability of still helping your team, doing a little damage to the tank, but being away from any unnecessary damage from the enemy. I like the fact that you're using Soldier's heal station to be able to sustain and stay alive. Same thing here. I think you use your fade, and again, the enemy team has direct line of sight. Like if that was a much more aggressive Kiriko, she would have definitely gotten you out because your health is so low already. And you are super focused on helping your soldier. Although I understand the panic. Your Mercy is down currently. He has used his healing station. But I think at this point, your team is so split because I think your Hog is in this room. If not, he has died in this room. Let me see. Yeah, he is walled in fighting a Mei and a Lifeweaver. I think right now the best bet for your team is just to reset. There are so many factors that are taken into account. Your Mercy is down, he doesn't have a healing station, your Pharah is waiting for Mercy to get back, that way they can go before Mercy, your Hog is locked away, and if you play in a more aggressive lobby, they would immediately get you out of the fight because your health is so low and the Mercy has gone down. That way you could see it better. Okay, you're in the middle of the way, you get rocked, and then you kind of fade into the same spot or like the same corner for them to be looking at you. So I would say be mindful of when that happens. Wherever you fade, you always want to use your fade to be able to keep yourself away from harm. You never want to fade somewhere that's close to where you last were, because better players, as you rank up, will notice that. They will try and catch you out. That is just unfortunate. Ooh, unlucky.
Surrender to my will.
Okay, good ult on the Lifeweaver. Although I would immediately start worrying about your team. Because you use Coalescence aggressively, always make sure to kind of do half and half. Use it for both DPS and healing for your team. You never want to leave your team in a bind of not getting enough heals, because your Mercy can't do it all. There's not enough healing that Mercy can do to be able to sustain your tank fighting. Ooh, careful of that Mei. Okay, nice fade. Good job getting out of that. Yeah, I think it was just unfortunate your tank got stuck in that little room with the Mei. Another thing that I notice you doing a lot is whenever there is downtime, in this instance, I like the fade to cleanse the damage from Ashe. But here, you see that the soldier is a little bit low and you kind of idle. And then you realize, oh wait, I have to heal him up. I would say for Moira, because she does healing over time and you want to always have that regeneration going, because she needs to do damage and the fact that their team is resetting up for this fight, you can kind of take advantage of this. Whenever your team is pushing up, taking advantage of the space on Moira, you always want to kind of push up especially if you can get away with it. You want to kind of peek around the corner here. If you don't see anybody, you're good to go. You can push in, be a little bit more aggressive, and whenever you see them coming back into the fight, like here, if I was in your shoes in this game, I would have maybe looked around the corner. Okay, no one here. I would have sent a damage orb maybe to the high ground or maybe down this corridor to be able to just buy myself some damage. You always want to be applying damage on Moira to be able to refresh your heals over time. Because it's on a meter, you never want to be out of heals in the middle of the fight. So I would say take advantage of the fact that your team has all of this free space and just throw a damage orb here and there. You never know, you might be able to make them panic, maybe force pull from the Life Weaver because you're doing damage to someone, or maybe force them to use Suzu.
Thanks.
And as always, you want to keep your fade to use it defensively to stay safe. You never want to fade like this into the fight, because now that some damage has been applied to you, you're not going to have anything to keep yourself safe. And here, if you had fade, you would have faded out of that mail because you kind of walked back into it. It would have been better to keep it instead of pushing up to the high ground to be able to jump out of it. You always want to be looking up to the high ground. You never know when your Pharah or Mercy are going to need that extra bit of healing. Here, because no one needs healing, I would have said send a damage orb. You never know who you can catch out and just do some free damage, because why not? Ooh, it would have been better there to send a healing orb instead of a damage orb to be able to help your tank. Okay, good. There, we did some damage to the Mei. We forced the enemy Life Weaver to use pull, and now they don't have pull for their tank. So maybe your team wins this fight since their tank can't be rescued. Unfortunate. I think you're a little bit too aggressive. At this instance, you're kind of on a pedestal, standing in front of an Ashe, a Mei, but you have completely forgotten about the fight that's happening back here. And I think your Mercy gets punished here by the Sigma and she dies because you're so far away and you're so into the fight. Your tank is back here, your soldier is going on a flank, which is fine. The Mercy could have just super jumped and helped him, but because she doesn't have you there to help her, I don't think she really has anything. She takes the hit for it. So always remember, even though you can be aggressive on Moira, you always want to leave a little bit of healing for your team. So here, what I would recommend is, even though you want to be aggressive, I would say send a healing orb to your team. You never know when the Mercy is gonna need it, or maybe your tank, because the enemy tank is fighting them right now. Yeah, and here again, you sent a damage orb instead of a healing orb, even though your ulting soldier is critical. And I can hear your tank and Mercy that are fighting behind you. I think here, as soon as you see the shield pop up, I would have said immediately fade, because that's the enemy Sigma shield, that's not your shield. And I think he takes advantage of the fact that you're very distracted, and I think he rocks you here. Yeah, he does. He kind of catches you out and he's like, oh wait, there's a Moira. Very out of positioning. Let me just rock her, get her out of the fight, and then slowly and surely your tank also goes down because the rest of your team has been picked off. I like the damage orb. You're buying yourself a little bit extra damage, especially because your coalescence is at 90. you want to go into this fight with it to be able to let your team know, okay, we can push, we could be a little bit more aggressive, coalescence. So 10 out of 10. Damage orb on Kiriko. You guys were able to secure that kill. Very nice job. I like the fact that you're going after their backline. Definitely want to pressure that Life Weaver. Job well done. Here, I would have actually recommended for you to go into the high ground. Instead of fading back to point, I would have actually suggested going up here and maybe sitting here and standing here with Moira and doing some damage for their tank, because the Mercy Soldier and your tank were 3 on point, and that'll be the max that you can get to fully push a point. And if you stand here, you're going to be doing a little bit extra damage. You would have noticed that their Kiriko used Suzu, so maybe you could have focused her a little bit. I don't really see anybody on the enemy team taking advantage of this high ground, so maybe you could have stood here, because no one on the enemy team can really see you here, and maybe you could have done some damage to the Kiriko in this instance. And let's say that the enemy team does decide to dive you, right? You have Fade. You're Moira. You can just orb to heal yourself and stay in the fight for a tiny bit longer while your team stays on point to help your team cap. Think about taking all those little extra angles where you can be a little bit more aggressive, because you have self-healing and also you have a very good ability like Fade where you can just nope out of a fight. If you see that you have used your orb but you still need to get out of the fight, you could have just jumped down a little bit and just faded back into your team. You could have come back here, waited for your Mercy to heal you if you did take a lot of damage, and rinse and repeat. Once you go back into the fight, just go back to high ground, same thing. Yeah, it was just unfortunate. The tank was caught out and kind of split between your team. Yeah, I think the best here was just for your team to reset. You guys try again. I like it. Sending a damage orb out. You definitely want to get as much damage as possible. You'll be careful. They're kind of just vibing around the corner, and it would be really dangerous for you to try and also sit at that same corner. Another thing I would like to highlight, same thing here, where you kind of fade in place in front of that Sigma and he rocks you because he's able to catch you out by fading in that same spot. You kind of just went from the right side of point to the left side. Always be mindful of that, because whenever they have abilities like that, like Rock, Hook, or Hog, Sleep for Ana, better players will single you out and stun you in place so that they're able to take advantage of you using your getaway ability. I like the fact that you faded into their backline. Ooh. Unfortunate. It was super unlucky that the orb kind of bounced off the cart here. I think maybe if you would have bounced it off of the wall here against the bob, it would have been better. Or maybe in this little gap between the hog and the cart, it would have been better. Although, you know, this side has the stairs, so it would have just gone haywire. But it was just unfortunate. My tips for you is to be careful of using your Fade ability on Moira to stay safe, I think you realize like, oh, I really need to get out of this situation. Let me fade. But you also have to think about let me fade to safety, because I don't have a healing orb, or maybe my other support isn't paying close attention to me. You always want to be super selfish with your fade ability. You can fade up to high ground and then crouch, wait for your team to come back, or maybe wait for your cooldowns as well. If you're playing Moira and your support is super far away, they might not be with you or next to you, next to your team at every instance of the game. Or you can fade into a health pack if you can get away with it, but obviously that's not going to apply for every map. And also in this situation, it's overtime, everyone's going to panic and want to be on point. Another thing I would say, make sure that your orbs, before you send them out, try and find some sort of flat surface to bounce them off of. That way they do healing going away from you and also healing coming back to you. I think here you could have done the same thing with the orb. Just send a healing orb and let it bounce in between this side and this side, and it would have helped your tank a little bit. Obviously it's going to be a little bit difficult, especially because there's a Bob here, but it would have just been a little bit more helpful instead of it bouncing off the card and going to Narnia. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more VOD reviews. If you guys would like your own VOD review, make sure to stop by my Twitch at Tokisori and claim your own. They are absolutely for free for just hanging out in chat and watching my streams. They are under the channel points, so you guys can go there, and once you have enough points, you claim it on Twitch and head to my Discord to fill out the questionnaire. Let me know that you would like a VOD review. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching.